Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mr. Sanders Twin again, and we are back on the couch. So, yeah, I'm having a bad hair day. But that's okay. I got my iced coffee. Abby is right here. Abby, say hello, or not. But anyway, we have a couple more chapters of Ambassador to read. We're skipping ahead a little bit. We're not reading 15 and 16. We're skipping to 17 and 18. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Chapter 18. Greetings, Ambassador, said Protocol. Greetings, Protocol, said Gabe. He felt less disoriented this time. The transition between waking life and entangled travel became shorter and smoother with each embassy visit. I have a request. Please call a local match for me. I challenge every adjacent civilization to a game of my choosing. Protocol paused. That pause had its own gravity. Are you certain, Ambassador, that Outlast will be among the representative civilizations called to this match? Gabe straightened his posture and tried to feel as if he had some authority, though he found it very difficult to think of himself as tall while talking to a room that had no visible ceiling. Empty space towered above him. I'm certain, he said. Very well. Where would you like to meet? An open area, said Gabe. No trees, no hills. Very well, said Protocol again. I have sent the summons. It is traditional to meet in constellation, which means that you will initially stand in relative positions that model your homeworld locations in miniature. You may then move around as your game requires. Thanks, Protocol, Gabe said. He wondered what it would look like if everyone stood in constellation. They would form a map of the whole galaxy with a great big spiraling crowd of kids. You are welcome, Ambassador Gabriel Sandro Fuentes. I hope that you will adequately resolve whatever matter prompted you to do this. Me too, said Gabe. All right, let's go ahead and answer that first question. Why does Protocol seem nervous about Gabe's match? Make sure you're paying attention to this paragraph right here. Protocol paused. The pause had its own gravity. Are you certain, Ambassador? The Outlast will be among the representative civilizations called to this match. If you need a sentence starter, you can use Protocol is nervous about Gabe's match because blank. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. The mirror door slid aside. Gabe walked through the space where it used to be and followed the corridor into the wide expanse of the chancery. The clouds were different colors this time. Gabe didn't have words for the colors that they were. Other ambassadors played their games and went about their business. A tournament of several dozen leaf throwers lined up at the beach, took aim, and tossed their folded planes over the lake. Swimming and hovering ambassadors judged which gliders flew farthest, which ones flew highest, and which ones flew with the greatest style. Gabe found a ball dropped by one of the flying games. It was dark and almost clear, as though made out of obsidian, though the texture of it felt leathery in his hand. It was also baseball size. He brought it with him. One cloud became a pointing arrow and descended toward an open field, otherwise unoccupied. Gabe also heard a low and gong like sound boom from the same direction, but everyone else seemed to ignore it. They must not have heard it. He set out for the cloud arrow place. It was a bit of a walk. He took his time, thinking hard. Ambassador Sapie came bounding toward him on his way downhill. "Hello, you extremely stupid person," she said. "What are you up to? And wouldn't you rather be climbing trees? I know I would rather be climbing trees. I'd like to assume that you feel the same. And I need to explain to you, slowly and clearly, that you should not ever catch the attention of a genocidal species. You keep doing that. I wish you would stop." "Can't climb trees," said Gabe. "Not right now. I have a local match to play." He tossed the ball and caught it while he walked. "Ah," said Sapie. "We just played one of those. We had to hold a shape-shifting duel first, because the Ven and the Knolls hate each other and they won't talk without dueling first." "What's a shape-shifting duel?" Gabe asked. "That's when you face off, hack your own visual translation, and take turns transforming into the scariest shapes you can think of. The first one to scream, laugh, or drop back into their usual sense of shape loses. Actual shapeshifters are best at it, of course, but even they can't mess with someone else's perception for long. Protocol gets snippy if they try. Duels are always fun to watch, but I wish the Ven and Knoll delegates didn't have to go through with it every single time we all meet." "Why do they hate each other?" Gabe wanted to know. "I don't remember," Sapie told him. She sounded bored, as though she found the whole idea of hatred boring. "Anyway, we all played a guessing game after the duel, and after that, we got around to helping the Ven get clear of their exploding star. The less fuel a star has, the less gravity it's got to hold itself together. So then it yawns and stretches and grows until it swallows everything else around it." She snatched the ball away from him in mid-toss and made it grow huge like a monstrous beach ball. Then she heaved it up, caught it with both arms, and squished it back down. The sun burns out after it gobbles up its planets. That's starting to happen now. But it's only just starting. It'll take a couple of Knoll lifetimes to finish, and Knolls live a long while, so we still have time to send ships and help the Ven relocate. Once we sorted that plan out, the new guy from Treem wanted to know what kind of music other people play, so we switched over to a singing sort of game. She tossed the ball back to Gabe and sang a tune to herself. Gabe thought it was a tune, at least. The notes fit together according to a whole different sense of math and rhythm than Gabe was used to. He fiddled with the ball while they walked. "How did you make it change?" "Twist it this way," she said, miming a demonstration with both hands. "It'll change color, too, if you whack it hard enough." Gabe tried it a few times, just to get the hang of it, before twisting it back to baseball size. "There you go," said Sapie, approving. Then she gave him an alarmed and curious look. "Wait, hold on. You're from that dinky little spur of a spiral arm on the other side of the center from me." "How can you tell?" Gabe asked. He hadn't noticed any geographically identifying characteristics about her or about anyone. He must not have been looking properly. "It's obvious," she said, "but nobody from your part of the galaxy ever holds a local game. The Outlasts dominate most of the arm just beyond yours. If you call for a complete match, then you'll call them. You have to interact with them. Again." "That's the idea," said Gabe. Sapie stopped walking. "That's every kind of stupid that there is. And stupid is infinite. You're still every single kind." "Thanks," said Gabe. All right, let's go ahead and answer that next question. What does Sapie think about Gabe inviting the Outlast? Well, she's not very subtle with her opinion. You'll find what you're looking for in these couple of lines right here. "That's the idea," said Gabe. Sapie stopped walking. "That's every kind of stupid that there is, and stupid is infinite. You're still every single kind." If you'd like a sentence starter, you can use Sapie thanks inviting the Outlast is blank. All right, let's go ahead and continue. What are you trying to do? Sapie pressed. Collective suicide? Or are you trying to make a formal complaint? Conquering types don't much care about reprimands, and no alliance of worlds has ever been able to slow them down either, so the very best thing to do is avoid them. Maybe you should reconsider this game. Nope, said Gabe. No time left. Someone's trying to kill me, and it isn't the Outlast. Well, I'm pretty sure it isn't the Outlast. But if I can scare them with the Outlast, then I might find out who they are. Sapie made an untranslatable noise. Then she made it again. Finally, she said something that Gabe could understand. If you think playing a game with Omegan is the least dangerous option available to you, then your circumstances must be very, very bad. Things are bad, Gabe agreed. Then good luck playing games with your various enemies. Thanks, Gabe smiled, what felt like a Zorro-ish smile. That's what this place is for, isn't it? Playing games with everyone? Sapie gave him a long look, shook her head, and ran for the trees. She seemed to prefer running to walking. All right, let's answer the next question. What is Gabe's plan? You'll find what you're looking for in this paragraph right here. Nope, said Gabe. No time left. Someone's trying to kill me, and it isn't the Outlast. Well, I'm pretty sure it isn't the Outlast. But if I can scare them with the Outlast, then I might find out who they are. If you need a sentence starter, you can use Gabe's plan is blank. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next chapter. Chapter 19. Gabe was the first to arrive at the designated place. One large circle glowed in the grass. He figured that was his place to stand, his spot in the larger constellation. He stood inside it and tossed the ball from hand to hand. Ripe arrived next. He walked with each foot lifted high, and he placed each step very deliberately before lifting the next. Gabe lobbed an easy throw in his direction. Ripe let the ball land on the ground in front of him. Then he picked it up with one foot, looked it over, and lobbed it back. Kath climbed cautiously down from the hills and took his own position close to Ripe. His ears fluttered in a flustered, uncomfortable sort of way, but he caught the ball easily and tossed it back. Gabe let the visual translation do its work. He kept his gaze relaxed and didn't squint at the others. They looked like two kids to him, one with glowing eyes and no hair, and the other with long, oddly bent legs, but still kids. Both watched him closely, expectant, waiting to learn why he had called them together. He stalled instead of telling them. This is the first game I can remember, Gabe said. My dad and I would sprawl out in the grass and look at the sky while he tossed a baseball into it. I watched the ball go away and then come back over and over. It made a really satisfying smack each time he caught it, like the ball was saying, I belong right here. And then Dad would tell me, with his goofy self importance, that it was a very great magic to throw something and catch it again. He promised to teach me this powerful magic. Then he did. After that, we played catch all the time. We tossed baseballs whenever he was too happy to know what he wanted to say, and whenever he was too angry to say anything and just needed to throw things instead. He had a baseball signed by Luis Gomez, another Tapatio who played for the Twins. It's gone now. He kept it in the basement in a little glass box, and our basement doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, this game is the first one I remember. All right. Let's go ahead and answer the next question. What is the first game Gabe remembers playing? You'll find the answer you're looking for in this paragraph right here. Anyway, this is the first one I remember. And let me zoom out a little bit. And then after that, we played catch all the time. These are some good clues. If you'd like a sentence starter, you can use the first game Gabe remembers playing is blank. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Remembering, said Ripe. We make them out of words and out of games and out of strong, important smells. I remember memory games of hidden incense and berry juices first. I remember hiding, said Kath. My home has many, 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 many hunting things, so everyone learns early how to hide, how to chase, and how to make a game out of it. He looked around, frowning. We're too exposed out here. Good for chasing, bad for hiding. Jur of the builders in the yards jogged up to her own place near the other two. Her long hair twitched, restless. What's the first game you remember? Gabe asked while tossing her the ball. Wordplay, she said, catching it, and counting games, math and language. We made up our own code so no one else could understand us. That's what we thought at the time, anyway. It felt private, rebellious. But they were already grooming us for the Ambassador Academy, so it was probably the kind of game we were supposed to be playing. She threw the ball back hard. The impact stung Gabe's hand. What are we playing now? I hope it's something with teams. More satisfying to see lots of moving parts and players working together. Gabe eyed his three neighbors. Maybe it was true that they cared more about leaving their shared corner of the galaxy than making piratical claims in Gabe's solar system, but any one of them might still want to steal some ice on their way out, and then make sure no one complained about it by killing the local ambassador. Anyone might be an ice pirate. All three of them might be working together, sharing their evacuation plans and excluding Gabe's planet and species from rescue. His hand still stung from Jur's throw. His pride still stung from Kath's attempt to exclude him from their games and emergency plans. But he tried not to glower and glare. He tried to carry himself with casual confidence. More like Zorro, he thought, less like Batman. Gabe held up the ball. We aren't all here yet, but let's start anyway. The game is catch. Sort of. Pretend the ball is something else, something new with every throw. Say what else it might be when you throw it. He tossed the ball at Kath. This is a question hoping to be answered. Kath fumbled the ball. What do you mean? We aren't all here yet. Who are we still waiting for? Omegan, Gabe said. He felt like smiling, but he didn't. Maybe now you'll all feel as scared and vulnerable as I do. That thought was satisfying, but also made Gabe uncomfortable. He set his discomfort aside and kept talking. I guess the Outlast homeworld is farther away, so he'll take longer to get here from his starting point in the constellation. But I did invite him. Kath dropped the ball again and stared at Gabe. Play the game, he said, but Kath didn't move. Not even his ears. I have an important question, he hissed. Why are you doing this? Why? So many whys. All the whys there are to ask. Why call for a full match? We've already tried to censure the Outlast, to reprimand the Outlast, to build an alliance against the Outlast. None of it has mattered. All right, let's go ahead and answer the next question. How does Kath react to Gabe inviting the Omegan? You'll find clues to this question right here. I have a more important question, he hissed. Why are you doing this? Why? So many whys, all the whys there are to ask. Why call for a full match? We've already tried to censure the Outlast, to reprimand the Outlast, to build an alliance against the Outlast. None of it has mattered. And a sentence starter can be Kath reacts to this by blank. All right, let's go ahead and move on. You're still only worried about the Outlast, Gabe thought. It doesn't occur to you to worry about anything else. It doesn't even occur to you that I might be worried about something else. You're not the one trying to kill me. Gabe ignored Kath's question and tried to ignore his own creeping discomfort. No longer felt as if he were doing something right or righteous. Play the game, he said, his voice flat and cold. Kath didn't pick up the ball. Jer walked over and retrieved it. Her hair lashed back and forth, agitated and angry. This is empty, she said, and twisted the ball to make it bigger. This is a vast area of empty space in which nothing now lives. This is Outlast territory. This is dead space. She kept her eyes locked on Gabe. And you've invited those responsible for massive galactic extinctions to come play catch with us? Jer's long tail hair raged behind her head. She sounded incredulous, hurt, and betrayed. She also seemed to think that the Outlast represented the only danger that any of them should be concerned about, Gabe included. You're not an ice pirate either, he thought. She threw the ball. He caught it and twisted it back to baseball size. Yes, said Gabe. I invited him to come and play. That's what this place is for. He tried to speak with casual bravado, but to himself, he sounded defensive. Now the ball is, a comet. He tossed it to Ripe because Ripe wasn't glaring at him. Ripe stood on his hands and used both feet to catch the ball. This is a sphere, he said. Its volume would be 2/3 of a surrounding cylinder. Don't be so literal, Jer told him. Make something up. This is the sharp-smelling seed pod of a sheltering home tree in last bloom, Ripe decided. I don't understand you, Gabe thought, despairing. I don't know what you want or what you're afraid of. Maybe you want to assassinate me for reasons I won't ever get, but I don't think so. I don't think so. If none of his neighbors were actually ice pirate assassins, then he had just brought them together and terrified them with Outlast attention for no good reason. He felt sick. Ripe tossed the ball to Kath, who caught it and held it. Oh, Megan's here, Kath whispered. He sounded less worried now that the danger was clearly visible. He looked ready to run. Jer looked ready to fight, but in a hopeless way, as though she knew that the fight wouldn't matter except as a distraction to help the others escape. Ripe didn't really look ready for anything. Gabe glanced over his shoulder. Omegan of the Outlast stood apart, watching their game. He did not attempt to come closer, to join them or to stand where he could hear them. Don't talk about evacuation, Kath whispered, his voice still calm and placid, as though talking about breakfast or the weather. Don't talk about where we are, or where we're going, or anything about travel capabilities, or weapons capabilities, or any other capabilities. Don't let him spy on us. I don't think he's trying to spy on us, said Gabe. Look at him. Kath's ears fluttered like moth wings. The Gabe keeps looking at the Outlast. Stop it. He threw the ball at Gabe's head. Gabe fumbled, dropped it, and picked it up again. Look, he insisted. Look how he's standing apart, where we can clearly see him and where he can't hear us. That's not spying. That's the opposite of spying, a refusal to spy. Maybe he's maybe he's trying to avoid causing any more damage. Maybe he's trying not to learn any more about us. All right, let's go ahead and answer the next question. What does Gabe think Omegan is trying not to do? You'll find the answer in this paragraph. Look, he insisted. Look how he's standing apart where we can clearly see him and where he can't hear us. That's not spying. That's the opposite of spying, a refusal to spy. Maybe he's trying to avoid causing any more damage. Maybe he's trying not to learn any more about us. And you can use a sentence starter. Gabe thinks the Outlast, or I'm sorry, Omegan is trying not to blink. All right, let's go ahead and finish the chapter and answer the last question. Jur cautiously considered the Outlast ambassador. Maybe you're right, she said, but it looks to me like Omegan stands aloof, not just apart. And I'm not impressed either way. Willful ignorance isn't impressive. A passive objection to genocide isn't nearly good enough. She held out both arms to encompass the four of them. You see how sparsely our part of the spiral is populated. You're new, so you might not understand what this means. You wouldn't understand how many we've lost. You might not be able to even think about numbers that high, but understand this. I will not speak to the Outlast. I will not play games with the Outlast. Her voice was steady, but Gabe heard the rage in it. Look at us. We're all that's left out of hundreds of thousands of worlds. In a whole spiral arm of our galaxy, there's just us and a few scattered nomads passing through. Don't talk about the Kayan, Kath told her in a sharp whisper. The Kayan doesn't want to be talked about, and she didn't come to join this game. Their ships are in the chase already, running hard, 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 and we mustn't speak any hits about their running path. Gabe felt prickly tingles on the skin of his arms. If he were something with fur like a fox or a cat, then all his fur would have bristled. Kayan is nearby. Kayan is passing through local space. Kayan was the very first person to talk to me here. She and Sapie were the first to ask me questions, and Kayan has kept an eye on me ever since, standing behind Sapie and glaring. Ambassador Sapie might live far away on the other side of the center, along with the musical Treem and the Ven and the Knowles, who always duel with each other, but Kayan is right here, hiding in local space and watching me from a tree branch. I'm sorry, he said out loud. I'm sorry that I called this game together. I'm sorry if I put you in any more danger. He held up the ball. This is an apology. It's for all of you, but I'm going to throw it to him. Everybody else scatter when I do. He turned, held the ball high so Megan would see it coming. Gabe wouldn't toss anything at an unsuspecting outfielder, even one culpable in galactic genocide, and then threw it hard, unsure if the ball would make it so far. It did. Omegan caught it, clearly surprised. The other three ambassadors scattered in three different directions. Gabe took a deep breath. He knew what he needed to know. Now it was time to do something about it. He took 2 steps. Then he felt wrenchingly dizzy and woke up. All right, let's go ahead and answer the last question. What does Gabe find out at the end of the chapter? It's not explicitly stated, but there's definitely clues as to what's going on. And these clues are right here. Kayan is nearby. Kayan is passing through local space. Kayan was the very first person to talk to me. Kayan has kept an eye on me ever since, standing behind Sapie and glaring. But Kayan is right here, hiding in the local space and watching me from a tree branch. If you need a sentence starter, you can use Gabe finds out blank. All right, everybody, that is it for chapters 18 and 19. I hope you enjoyed them. We're nearing the end of the book, so can't wait to see how all of this ends. Anyway, see you next time.